Hi, it's me again, and you join me on my drive home from another day at the coalface. God, if I had to work at a coal mine for the last 5 seconds, I mean clicking about randomly on a computer for 9 hours. But another interesting day in the world of the BBC and the TV licence, was it not? I didn't see it coming. I did not see it coming that Gary would just get reinstated just like that. If you haven't heard the news yet, Gary Lineker has been reinstated by the BBC. No apology required, nothing like that. Just come back, Gary, we need you. Even though more people have watched Match of the Day this weekend than have for a very long time, although there were some complaints about that. I was reading some complaints about that. There was people who are visually impaired didn't very much enjoy Match of the Day on the weekend because they need the talkover and the commentary. But apparently the clips, or the Match of the Day was just a clip show, wasn't it, this weekend, where they were just showing highlights and there was no real talking. So there was complaints from the visually impaired community as to why they weren't allowed to enjoy Match of the Day, which is probably fair dues, really, isn't it? They didn't even think to do anything about that. But it was a bit of a rush job, wasn't it? So, I mean, you've got to let some stuff slide. You've got to let something slide, really, haven't you? But yeah, back to it. Gary has been reinstated by the BBC and he didn't have to apologise for his comments. In fact, BBC boss Tim Davie, he apologised. He apologised to the staff of the BBC and to the people for all the mess this whole situation has caused. A mess where he's at the top of the tree he is responsible for, let's face it. It's his mess. But Gary didn't have to apologise, he's back. But he has agreed to not tweet anything like that, do you know what I mean? His dodgy stuff for a bit. He's agreed not to do it. They're going to do an independent review. They're going to bring someone in. I haven't got the full details of that yet. I haven't really had a lot of time to read about this today. They're going to bring people in to do a full and independent review of the policies for social media use for BBC employees and contractors. And Gary Lineker has agreed to not put anything political on Twitter. He's going to abide by the standard BBC rules until this independent review is completed. So we'll see what happens there. But what did I say? What did I say when this all happened? Gary Lineker can say and do whatever Gary Lineker wants. Nothing matters to him. He'd get away with anything. He's come back from all of this without an apology, even though, I mean, it's all hearsay, isn't it? But apparently he spoke to a close friend and said, when he first put the tweet out, saying, I might have gone a bit too far this time. But that was just reported in the Sun, and you know what it's like. It's just a bit of hearsay, isn't it? Can't prove either way. Would I believe he could say that? I don't know. Does Gary Lineker believe he could go too far with his tweets? Tough one, isn't it? He can pretty much say and do whatever he wants on his social media, not abiding by the BBC's rules, getting paid more than anyone else at the BBC, and his nice cushy life. I don't get it. 30 years he's been broadcasting at the BBC. It's not a bad career, is it? It's not bad at all. She's got nice dogs. Now, this part of this whole saga that interests me the most is what's going to happen to the people at the top of the tree. Because Richard Sharp, his position was a bit dodge anyway, wasn't it? He was already sitting on a knife edge. So is he going to be able to keep that position? Because you've got the whole thing hanging over his head of the alleged loan help that he gave Boris, and he is a political donor. Apparently he donated £400,000 to the Conservative Party, which shows bias towards one political group, doesn't it? But then the BBC don't appoint the chair. They're appointed by the government. So what's going to go on with that? And then BBC boss himself, good old Tim Davie, is his position now untenable? He's causing fiasco after fiasco after fiasco. There's loads of problems. We can't sort anything out. And now this, which has given the BBC a few days of really bad PR and a lot of TV licenses cancelled, which I want to remember to talk about in a minute. the people who cancelled their TV licences in protest of Lineker. Is this going to put Tim Davies' job in a bad position? But then I don't think they've got anyone lined up at the minute that can replace him, because it took them long enough to replace the last guy, didn't it? And they had to bring Tim Davies over from BBC Studios, and he was only working as the interim, like the fill-in guy, until they could find someone else, and then they decided to appoint him. So could they get rid of Tim Davies? Because they've got no one else. They haven't got anyone else, unless they have behind the scenes that they haven't been talking about in the meantime, which is probably what they would do. So this is where the fun stuff's going to happen over the next few times. But one of the points about it that is interesting me at the minute, and it's holding my attention a bit. I want to follow it to see where it's going. As I said, loads of people cancelled their TV licences in protest to this whole Gary Lineker situation. They had Gary's back, and they wanted to show their solidarity and support with Gary Lineker. So they cancelled. There's loads. Go on Twitter. There's loads of it of people cancelling their direct debits, not properly cancelling their TV licences, just cancelling their direct debits. That's interesting, right? What's going to happen with that? Are they going to remember to reinstate their direct debits? I don't know. If it's been processed, I don't know. It's not that. I suppose you can phone them up and get the direct debit set back up again, can't you? Will they remember to do that? And if they don't, they're unlicensed. And these people who cancel it in protest don't know all about what you can and can't do without a television licence. So is there going to be some prosecution? They'll start getting letters. They'll start being worried. God, this is tight down here, isn't it? I'm having to do what everyone in Essex has to do after work. Decide whether to use the god-awful A12 or take the back roads. I went with back roads. I don't trust Google Maps, because by the time I get up to the A12, where I have to join it, the whole situation's normally changed, and by then I'm past the point of no return, so I'm stuck with it. So I go on instinct, and then when I get home, I check Google Maps and it'll tell me. But, yeah, I'm taking the back roads tonight, because why not? Scenic route. It's a nice night out. It's windy today, though. Only windy today. So yeah, I want to keep an eye on that, because these people who were BBC supporters generally, but they wanted to show their solidarity and support for Gary Lineker by cancelling their telly licences, or cancelling direct debits for their telly licences, whatever. Are they going to remember to reinstate them? Or will they want to reinstate them? I don't know. But if they don't, they'll start getting those letters. And they might get a knock on their door, because they did have a licence. The direct debits failed. It's not like they don't know who's at that property. They're not going to get to the present occupier letters. They're going to get letters saying, we couldn't take your payment. You're now unlicensed. Oh, that's a nice dog. It's nice, isn't it, mate? So yeah, that could cause a bit of another poo storm for the BBC, couldn't it? If they start door knocking, and these people obviously won't know the rules who have cancelled it because they're cancelling protest. And if they start getting fines and prosecutions, I hope people don't get fines and prosecutions. I hope they learn the rules and keep their TV licence fee cancelled and play by the rules of not watching anything that's been broadcast or using BBC iPlayer, which is like my catchphrase now, isn't it? Like my catchphrase. So it's only a quick one tonight. I'm just on my way home from work. I'm absolutely shattered. Shattered I am. After helping my sister all weekend in her new pub. I've got quite a lot of work done, if you're interested. Got all the bar done. Got a lot done on the ceiling. Got a lot done with the shelves behind the bar and all the wiring. I didn't do the wiring, obviously. I'm not stupid. But I wired some speakers in. That's all right. I'm not going to electrocute everybody in the place when it opens on opening night by wiring in some speakers, am I? So, yeah, I'm shattered. Been down there 2 nights on the row. And then earlier work today, and I got a big project on at the minute. Big project for the American side of the company that I work for. So I just run a bit ragged at the minute. So I want to go home, make a nice dinner, edit this video and get it up tonight. And then I'm going to have a couple of beers and an early night. Lovely. Hopefully this time, because I haven't clipped the microphone onto the seatbelt. The seatbelt was rubbing on the bloody zip of that coat. And it's just a bit unprofessional, isn't it? But that is the nature of my channel, is unprofessional, isn't it? Hopefully not getting those noises this time. And the cheap Chinese knockoff GoPro that's front facing's gone. I'm using my iPhone for that one now. And if you think I'm looking at the camera a lot, it's not always looking at the camera. I am a little bit sometimes, granted, but it's right where the wing mirror is. And because I've driven a lot in Europe, I use my side mirrors a lot. So don't always think I'm looking at the camera. I'm looking at the side mirrors sometimes. Because you live on these things when you drive in Europe because of the motorbikes and that. It just kind of sticks in my head. I'm a mirror user, what can I say? But anyway, what do you think about all this? Gary coming back, the boss giving an apology. Yeah. I didn't see it coming. I did not see it coming like that. I genuinely thought Gary would apologise. Genuinely thought it. Or it would just drag on a little while more and there might be some solicitors getting involved or something. I was quite looking forward to a nice juicy fight because it was entertaining, wasn't it? Watching the BBC go through a major PR disaster by someone who collectively we don't like that much on this channel, do we? Yeah, no, I didn't see it working that way. Let me know your thoughts on it down in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, because that way, hopefully, well, you can join me on another drive home from work some other point this week, can't you? Ta-da!